All right, I feel like I shouldn't jump right in. We're doing a little bit of casual talk here. All right,
Jump in, girl. I love this.
Yes, that's my
Old
baby.
school.
All right, I had a quick question just about you and Percy. Like, first season, you guys were both the same side, two sides of the same coin.
Right.
And I loved that polar opposites that you had going on. Are we going to go back to this year where you're both king and queen and you've got these little chess pieces going back and forth?
Yeah, and what I like about Percy sort of being in his box, is that, and Albert didn't say this, I'm surprised he didn't, so I will. Somebody asked if Percy was going to be the head of division again, or if that was going to be something that happened. And my take on it is that when Percy will be in a power position again, that's the person he is, and you don't keep him down for very long, obviously. But I think that when Percy does come back into a position of power, it is going to be in a place, a position much scarier than the head of division. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So I think that absolutely will happen, and I think that there is not a day in his box that he's not thinking about Nikita. Yeah, and I mean, right now his chess game is getting out of the box, and once he does, I think that there's going to be hell to pay for sure.
Yeah, I just love how you both interact
Yeah,
with
and
each
I
other.
love him so much. And Xander is I remember being in the writer's room sort of when we casted him, and we were all jumping up and down because he's just so fantastically talented. And we love working together. And whenever we pass each other in the lot, because we have no scenes together, it's sort of like, we doesn't want that so much. And so, yeah, so we will have stuff coming up, yeah. But I like how we're kind of drawing out that box, and like they were saying on the panel, like he's getting little things day by day. And Albert is absolutely right. Nothing happens for no reason with Percy, so he'll be out of there.
Another relationship, of course, I think maybe the most important one on the show is Alex and Nikita. Like, it's almost like that arc is almost a bigger love story in a way than Michael and Nikita.
Yeah. I mean, and I love that I love that you said that, because, it just depends. Some people want to see a man and a woman relationship dynamic. Some people want to see a friendship dynamic. I know a lot of lesbians that want to see a romantic Alex and Nikita moment. Yeah, it is, because I think the two greatest loves that you can have in life are the intimate love and the friendship love. And a lot of times, I mean, even for me, I think about if somebody gave me the choice between like my lover and my friends, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, they're so important, and that's how I look at it as well.
And how do you think that relationship's how are we going to see it evolve? Because obviously there's been so much push-pull and tension between them, and a lot of betrayal. I mean,
yeah, for good reason. And I love what pulled them apart too, because it's one of those. It's a good adult reason as well, to be sort of upset with somebody, obviously. But because the problem that tore them apart is so complex, and there are so many levels, I got a lot of reaction of, why doesn't Alex understand? She was under orders, and there was all this going on, and sometimes people don't. Sometimes, Alex is not like Nikita in that, for me, it's like Nikita, this became very natural for her, which is very strange and sort of one of the crosses she has to bear. Nikita went into division and became the best that they'd ever seen. And no one prepped her for that. Alex was trained and prepped by Nikita to be in division and to be good and be this person. But Nikita, it was a part of who she was. Alex had a great life. She came from a very wealthy family, very loving parents. She was the only sort of prized child of this, that was a good existence for her. And she looks at it as something she lost, because she did. Somebody took it away from her. And that's a very, very painful thing to have to go through, because she has the memory of it, where Nikita never had a happy home. She never had that. And so her journey forward is one that can't be stopped, because it's not like she looks back and has pause about anything. And I think the only thing that she did have pause about was her love for Michael when she left division. Yeah.
On Nikita and Michael, we've seen them basically in every sense of the relationship as enemies, and then as frenemies, and then as and then as lovers. But is there an interaction you really like to play more, or is there now that you've worked together as and been kind of lovers together, do you like doing that more than playing the cat and mouse that you kind of were in season 1?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to sort of have that, to be satiated a little bit in that cat and mouse thing. You're gonna have to have that come together. moment, and it's interesting with them because it's not like I remember Craig said to me one time about Michael and Nikita being together because he was a bit afraid of that. He was like, oh, we're them together and then it's going to be boring, and he said, I don't want it to be like Cheers where Diane, they got together and Sam got together and then people didn't really care. I'm like, they're not Diane and Sam. I'm like, they're not. It's not Cheers. It's so not the same thing. I'm like, their life is so colorful. They don't meet at a bar every night. It's like, hello. I mean, there's so many things that are going to keep their relationship interesting. And he was like, no, but he was very, very afraid of sort of bringing them together so soon. Even though, like Albert was saying, everything just played to that. So when it does, you create other problems, right? But there is a dynamic coming up, which Nikita's never been in the position of, which I really like. And I don't have a better word, but it's sort of the jealous realm a little bit, because there is something that happens that Nikita is not jealous, she's not that person, but there is something that she has to watch unfold that it really hurts her. And as a woman, you guys are you're gonna be like, what? you're gonna get it in a way that is just not even funny, and you're gonna be like, Nikita, just go kill her, or something. You're just gonna want her to do something more. But it's like, when you really love someone, you truly love someone, you have to just sort of step back and go, I have to be understanding in these moments. I just do. Because the bigger picture is, we're going to be together. You love me. I know that. And it's going to be okay. But is it going to be okay? I don't know.
I mean, will we see a relationship develop between Nikita and Owen, or Nikita and Ryan, just because there's also this great chemistry between you and those
They're cute,
characters?
no? So annoying. We're on 9 now. Going into 10, Owen's coming back. And for the first time, and I can say this, we have this joke about Owen always popping up. Owen's always like, Nikita's always like, there's a line that they cut, which I was so bummed about in episode 2, where he walks up and he's like, Nikita, and she's like, Owen, what are you doing here? She says, and they cut it, but he goes, and it was so cute the way he delivered it, he goes, you always say that. Because he's always popping up. They were in bed in season 1 and he popped up. So he's always popping up. So there's this joke about, like, where's Owen going to pop out of next, sort of thing. And the next time you see Owen and Nikita together, she goes to him, actually. She goes to find him. And there's a big reason for that. So, yeah.
What's interesting, and we've talked about it with Mr. Kim, is the little things that you and Michael do together. Nikita and Michael do together. And he said some of that was written, and then some of it is just between you and Shane.
Yeah.
Was that something you did non-verbally as the scenes evolved, or was it a conscious effort on your part?
Luckily, it doesn't have to be like a concerted conscious effort in terms of, because I'm very close to Shane as Pete, which is nice, and so because we're comfortable with each other, thank God, things will come out in scenes that are really nice, and that doesn't always happen. I played this character, in season 1 where I'm in bed with this guy or whatever, and it's so different, when you're comfortable with someone and like you've been on the thing where you've been with a guy and you're like, I'm not comfortable. But when you're comfortable, you just flower. You bloom into something that you didn't know. And I think because of our comfort level, we're able to, things just happen, and I like to, in scenes like I don't know if he knows this, but I like to, in scenes, pull just things out of nowhere to make him laugh, because he never smiles. He's always like really hard and concentrated. So I'll do little things that I don't tell him I'm gonna do, just to get like a moment of like, ha, like that natural moment where you didn't know you were gonna laugh and you do, and when it happens, it's so adorable, and it always makes it into the cut, always, because people want to see that, and then I always read on Twitter, people going, oh, he's so cute, he smiled, or oh, he was so nice to her, or something like that. So it actually works, and it's nice. And so sometimes I do like plan certain things, yeah. And then sometimes if somebody like Shane who's not performing, well, I'll do things that they don't know to kind of shock them and get a moment that's authentic. But you have to realize who you're working with and kind of make a plan for it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So you plan these out ahead of time. You kind of, who
Well,
you're
meet the
working
person, and then maybe we'll do like our first day, and like if it's a guest star, or even like a small thing, just a day thing. And I don't know. I can quickly sort of assess like what's happening. You know, even in fights, I can do that. You know, it's sort of like I worked with these stuntmen the other day that's just like, we're very good, and I was like, and I had to make the adjustments for them, and that's not cool. But I know who I'm working with, and that'll never happen again. They'll never get hired again. But you know, it's sort of like I sort of understand where the adjustments need to be made, and I think that's just something that comes out of working your ass off every day and just being in these situations from day to day all the time. Yeah. And then some people come and surprise you. You know, like when I work with Peter Outerbridge, he plays Ari. First time I did a scene with Peter Outerbridge, he was sitting in a car and I was standing and I was talking to him, and I remember we had cut and I walked over to the video village where all the playback is, and the producer was sitting there with the writer, and I walked up to them and I gave them like a 3 hug. I just like pulled them both in and I hugged them and I went, thank you. Like, thank you for Peter Outerbridge. Like, he's just so good, and you walk into a scene and you feel like 1,000 pounds just lifted from your shoulders because you don't have to think for 2 people. You know, and a lot of times you do. Yeah, it's interesting.
So like seeing someone's presence, when you work with different actors, you can see what it's kind of going to develop into sometimes.
Immediately, yeah. I'm a very intuitive Maggie as a person. I'm a very intuitive individual, just normally anyway. So because I have no life, this is what I do every day. I mean, even if you didn't want to be good at seeing these things, and I do, it's sort of like one of those things that it's just going to happen if you're paying attention. Yeah.
You know, if I have a wish list, I don't know if it's possible to do it, but like especially in the character you played in the Die Hard film, it was somebody you just wanted to kill because she was so bad.
She was so bad, yeah.
But I wouldn't mind
So
seeing
fun.
her kind of go to the dark side a little bit.
You know what? You're me. Are you me? Because I've said that actually to them, and Oliver Stone is a friend of mine, and he said to me about this character in the show. He said, I watched the show. I'm like, you've watched the show? And he said, well, yeah, I want to see what you're up to. I want to see, what's happening. And he said to me, tell Craig Silverstein to go for it. Go for it. I don't care what anybody thinks. Go dark because you can handle it. Go dark. And I was like, Craig, and the funniest thing Craig said was, all right, I respect that. He's a damn good writer. I respect that. I'm like, you think? He's a damn good writer. But it was a really funny thing, and he's absolutely right. I mean, it's like, it's the kind of character that lends itself to that, and I always want to go darker with this show, always, and I'm always pushing for that. So, I love the show as it is, but I mean, for me and like my taste, I'm like you. I mean, I always want things to go to a place that makes people a little uncomfortable because that's what we're doing. I think that's what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah.